family in my Western community and my Phi Mu sisters. And there were amazing times here, but I don't want you to think that all of them were easy or just about fun or that it was all pretty. And it was actually Dr. Janet Schwarzkopf, who I'm so glad is in this audience today, and Dr. Dan Roker, who each said to me after my first bad showing in each of their classes that they expected more of me, and more importantly, that they were confident I could deliver on it, and so I did. They literally taught me the difference between high expectations and low expectations, and they, like every employer that I've had since, set the bar higher and higher for me and expected me to rise to the challenge. I've had some amazing opportunities since I left Western's hallowed halls, including the privilege right now of investing billions of dollars in education across this country. But I don't see myself as the sum total of the positions I've held or the titles that precede my name, but rather more as a basic illustration of the benefits of a great education, one that I'm determined every kid in this country also get access to. So I'm always aware that the opportunities I now have to provide those opportunities for others, particularly low-income and minority children across this country, grew in large part from what I learned in these halls and the training, support, and skills that I gained here. And I was here a year or so ago and received an honorary doctorate. And one of the things I said then is that I'm often reminded of the final words of our alma mater, which says, "Falter, never, live forever." All of us falter, and nobody lives forever. But there's no better way to remedy our mistakes or to live beyond our own lives than to help future generations reach for success. Whether you're doing that, as Jerry is, through the arts and through scholarships, whether you're doing that to give opportunities for kids in this country around education, or whether you're doing it by other means that help our citizens and our country prosper. I have that joy and privilege every day, thanks in no small part to what I received at Western. And I can think of no honor that I will cherish more than being one of the distinguished alumni. Thank you.
Mr. Norris Noro Wilson. Our final inductee is described as an awesome, amazing person with a great sense of humor. How's that for a title? He's beloved in the country music industry, not only in Nashville, but across this nation. In a tough business that few managed to break into, Noro Wilson's music career has spanned some 50 years and includes numerous recognitions and honors. Noro Wilson clearly embodies the spirit of success and accomplishment. A humble man who hailed originally from Scottsville, Noro earned a music scholarship to Western Kentucky State Teachers College in 1956. He studied voice here, but his talents took him to Nashville, where he was a singer, a songwriter, music publisher, and a producer. Perhaps best known for his songwriting, Noro has written some of country music's biggest hits, winning a Grammy for Best Country Song with Charlie Rich's A Very Special Love Song in 1974. Noro has launched the careers of some of country music's best-known artists, and we'll all get a chance to hear from some of them in just a few moments. He has produced more than 100 albums, many selling in the multi-millions. In the words of Dr. Erica Brady and Dr. Mitzi Groom, who nominated Noro for the Hall of Distinguished Alumni, Noro Wilson's impact on the country music industry is significant. For more than 50 years, he's used his voice, songwriting, production talents, and life's experience to create enduring country music. His contributions are now part of the architecture that frames country music as a significant element in American popular culture. I would also add that Noro was inducted into the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame a few years ago, and I had the opportunity to get to know him more when our own Larnell Harris was inducted just a year or so ago. Today, Noro spends most of his time on his boat in Tennessee and frequents his favorite restaurant, Steak and Shake. I'm not buying that one, Noro. Not buying that one. That gleam in his eye is sparked these days by his granddaughter, Wilson. And Noro, we are counting on Wilson joining you as a fellow Hilltopper in 17 years. I'm delighted today to recognize Noro Wilson as a member of the WKU Hall of Distinguished Alumni. Please direct your attention to the screens.
In a business where few survive, Norris Noro Wilson has flourished. His longevity in the music recording industry has left the world with some of music's most recognizable recordings. The multi-talented performer, musician, and producer, Wilson is legendary for his sense of humor, his musical instincts, and his melodies.
And I know when we write together, that's what I want to pull out of him. I mean, I want him to say, what do you, just musically, take it where you feel it ought to go. And, you know, we may, early in a song, but his that gift of that, hearing that beautiful melody is what, not only as a writer, but being in the music business. I mean, we're talking about songs, and half of the song is a melody. So he's been great at that. And if there's one thing that is his strength in this business and has helped him sustain, it's that he truly is a good music man.
Growing up in Scottsville, Kentucky, the young Wilson was physically too small for sports, so instead turned to music. He persevered, forced piano lessons, only to discover he had a gift.
That simple gift musically would be my ears were good. And you've heard people say, well, they play by ear. Well, I did. I could play by ear. I can still play by ear. I absorbed it, and then I'd have to study at home. And I would sight read, but then I remembered as well. Do you get my meaning? And so I think that might have told me that my ears were all right, you know, that would lean toward some help down the road.
It was in the church choir that Wilson found his voice. His solos led to the Scottsville High School Glee Club and on to the school's barbershop quartet. That's where Noro Wilson, the performer, was born.
My graduating year of high school, in Scottsville High School, we won the state festival, which was held in Bowling Green at the Van Meter Auditorium. So I would say to you that singing with that quartet at the stage, a Van Meter stage, an auditorium, and then singing with our Glee Club was probably the first smell of the grease paint noise of the crowd, as they say, affects you.
Wilson accepted a music scholarship to Western Kentucky University, where he was mentored by future music greats like B.G. Adair and Mike Longo. But the road came calling, and at age 19, he joined up with the gospel quartet, the Southlanders. In the early 60s, Wilson headed to Nashville to work with Acuff Rose Records. He scored a top 20 hit in 1970 with Do It With Someone You Love.
So do it to someone you love.
About that time, while working at Mercury Records, he collaborated with writer Rory Burke, and together they wrote one of country music's most successful hits, The Most Beautiful Girl, recorded by Charlie Rich.
He had the first verse. I woke up this morning, realized what I had done. I stood alone in the cold gray dawn. I knew I'd lost my morning sun. Lost my head and I said some things. Now comes the heartache that the morning brings. And stop. Now don't ask me why I said this, because I don't know why. That's why I've always said The Most Beautiful Girl was a gift to me. That first verse he already had was a gift to me. He already had it completed. For some thought I had, I said, wonder if that guy realized what he'd done. Wonder if he went out in the street and ran up to the first guy or somebody he knew. I was just talking, you know, and walked up and said, hey, mister, did you happen to see the most beautiful girl in the world? And if you did, was she crying?
Hey, did you happen to see the most beautiful girl in the world?
To date, the song has been performed more than 6 million times. Wilson wrote several #1 hits throughout the 70s and 80s. He received a 1974 Grammy for Best Country Song, 38 BMI Awards, and induction into the Nashville Songwriters Association and the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame. Noro Wilson is a rare member of an elite club.
He has an eye for for something that hasn't been here before. You know, I remember I was working at Mercury Records in 1990, 91, and he brought me a cassette tape of a girl singer he had just done some demos on. Turns out to be Shania Twain, and you know, we all know what happened with that. You know, and that's just one of many that he's been in on the ground floor on.
To have such a great career and over such a long period of time, and have your peers and have people to go back and recognize these 38 great songs and you know, the most beautiful girl, you know, that's the one that stands out. But Grand Tour and Picture of You Without Me, and you know, Kenny Chesney and George Jones, Tammy Wynette, Charlie Pride. I mean, you got a great list of people that followed you along the way.
I got to work on the very last Tammy and George duet, and I was thrilled about that. As far as other artists, gosh, there's some great ones. I have to say that I worked a lifetime, and at the end of my career, I end up with Kenny Chesney. Now what are we going to talk about? You know, that's pretty hefty.
Hey everybody, I'm Kenny Chesney, and I got to tell you, one of the first guys I met when I came to Nashville, Tennessee was a guy named Noro Wilson. And Noro, I look up to him so much because he's the one thing that's hard to do in the music business is survive. And Noro Wilson is a survivor in the music business. And he's taught me a lot about the business, about music. He's written some of the songs that I hear on the radio still today and wish that I had written. And I can honestly say that my career would not be where it's at without my friend Noro Wilson. I love you, buddy, and wish I was there, and see you soon.
Hey Noro, congratulations on your induction tonight. I'm so very proud of you, so happy for you. Thank you very much for letting me be a part of your exciting life. You're a great buddy, a great pal, a great friend. You've made me laugh, entertained me so many times in the recording studio that we've got to do 3 great albums together. So I just want to say thank you very much for all that you've done for me in my life and my career. Couldn't have done it without you. And congratulations on your induction tonight. I am so happy for you. Here's to many more.
2011 WKU Hall of Distinguished Alumni inductee Norris Noro Wilson.
I guess you know what that's about. Little Wilson, my new granddaughter, will be getting this today. So I brought that along for my little security blanket so I can get through this. Coming from Scottsville, Kentucky, and going to school over here, I think most of you know a little something about Scottsville, Kentucky. I grew up with Cal Jr., Turner, and the Turners, the family. They were dear friends of mine and great people. And he was singing in the barbershop quartet when we won our little festival. I've told him several times that there's a little something that bothers me about their royalty statement and mine. There's a marked difference in it, I can tell you. Coming to WKU in my early life has everything to say about, it does to me, about what you do with your life. I had many heroes right away. Little town from Scottsville and come to college, and right away you meet somebody like B.G. Adair, I did, and Mike Longo. They weren't just good. They were great. I mean, really great. So all of that affected me. I feel like I learned to appreciate great. Benny Beach was a hero to me. Dr. Carpenter, believe it or not, down the road when I'm making records in Nashville, Tennessee, dear Dr. Carpenter would come down and play violin on some of the string sessions. I thought, how does this work like this? But being around those people and observing their greatness honed my thoughts, honed my talent to be critical of trying to do something great. I think sometimes I might have. And then a few wonderful things really has happened in my career. I've had the most lovely career in the world. And as all of you know, music business is real difficult to deal with and to survive. But it's been great to me. And nothing in my life could affect me more and humble me more than receiving this recognition. You have no idea how I feel at this very moment. I can tell you, I'm blooming with pleasure, flowing with achievement. Thank you so much.